It is party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. Tuesday night. We are in the mothership, which is Studio 22. The Puppet Master Mark driving us into the nether regions of a brand new America. We're going to talk about that today. What does it look like? It is scary, folks. Candace, the queen of the Ethiopians, if it looked anything like you, 2 thumbs up. Regal, sleek, like a goddess, but don't forget, you're just a queen. That means you're mortal, okay? Herbert the Silent Deer stares on, same face of shock he made the night the truck hit him. Look who's back at the bar. Look who's back at the pub over there. Lisa Page. Not you, Steve. Lisa Page.
I was the one going.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, I'm more important, so.
Yeah. But you were on the show last night, Steve. So
oh, that is true. But
you
I
sat in
spent
the
the
hot
last
seat
week and a
and
half or
pontificated, waxed eloquent, as I got pissed off about this situation of them removing the All-Star game from Atlanta. $100 million. God, poof. Who's it going to affect? Who's it really going to affect? It's going to affect the community of minorities that live in the area, who own businesses, who run business, who work at the ballpark. Because I don't know if you guys have been to any Major League Baseball games recently, but primarily it's a lot of minorities who work there. How about that? But boom, that's virtue signal. Doesn't matter what the ramifications or the results are. Just James Klug is sitting over here in the hot seat today. Welcome, James.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Dude, are you hungover from last night? We had some drinks.
There's no evidence of that.
There's no evidence. I can't see it. Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah.
Good.
But no, I wanted to say on top of what you're talking about, I mean, all in the name of woke politics. Yeah. All in the name of woke politics. $100 million.
Yep.
Bam.
Get woke, go broke.
Yeah.
That's the deal. That is the deal. That's what happens, Lisa. I wish I was woke. I wish I could just say politically correct things, whether I meant them in my heart or not, right?
It's very hard for us to do.
Yeah. I mean, like, if I'm nice, I want to be nice because
Genuinely.
it comes from my heart. It's genuine. But I don't want to say things just to virtue signal when I really don't give a shit about anybody.
And you shouldn't. And you don't.
Yeah. I mean,
Prather 22.
I like some people. You guys need to be following James. You've probably seen him get chased down the street with a baseball bat there in Philadelphia. James is an on-the-street reporter and one of them crazy-ass gonzo journalists. You're not really a gonzo journalist, but you do get yourself right in the middle of the thick of things.
For sure.
With the riots and the fights and the craziness. I don't know how you guys... Like, I was telling you last night, like, if I were there, I would get in the middle of it. But thank God I'm not there most of the time.
100%. Yeah.
Because I'm 48 years old and I can't run away.
Yeah.
I just can't get away.
It motivates me to stay in shape and keep remaining a fast runner and all that. Yeah. But yeah, pretty much we're mainstream media runs away from and lies about. I mean, well, we saw CNN cover some riots. What'd they say? Fiery but mostly peaceful.
Yeah.
Where they run away from covering the real. Are we allowed to swear on here?
Swear a little bit.
The real crap. I dive right into to show people what exactly is going on, because a lot of these riots, let's say BLM, Antifa, whatever it may be, most of these riots are inconvenient for them to show.
Yeah.
So that's where I come in.
Now, the one that I enjoyed, the video I enjoyed from the weekend, was the anti-capitalist protester who climbed the building with the black paint in the backpack. Heading up to do some damage, and then had the 20-foot fall. And it looked like blood was streaming out from the body, but it was the black paint.
Yeah, they all carry paint with them. Like, because they're,
really?
Oh yeah. All those, like, most of those people carry paint with them when they're doing stuff like that. That's super common. When I saw it, I thought it was paint, just because I see Antifa doing this stuff all the time. That shot was filmed by, I believe, Scootercaster on Twitter. She's great. She covers a lot of that stuff. And yeah, I mean, I think that sadly is a guilty pleasure for a lot of us folks at home that watch this stuff. These people are spending their days terrorizing the town, vandalizing, and every once in a while they'd take an L, and it's kind of enjoyable to
Definitely
watch.
took an L on that one. I loved what BlazeTV President Gaston Mooney tweeted. Sometimes problems just solve themselves.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yep.
Great.
You're going to climb up there and vandalize a building, and you need to work on those rock climbing skills. But you've spent, and we're going to get into this in the next segment, but you spent quite a good bit of time down at the border.
Yeah.
So got a lot of insight that we're going to talk about from there, because that's a huge pressing problem. I mean, we know it's a huge humanitarian crisis, and it's a major issue that's going on. It's very complex. It's not one that's easily solved, but we've talked about it a lot on this show. And a lot of people are with a lot of questions. If you were governor of Texas, what would you do? What would you do? What would you do? It's not an easily answered not an easily answered question because we've created a nightmare. We really have. And once you open up that box, it's kind of hard to put the demons back in.
100%.
And that's kind of the way it is now. We've created this nightmare, and it's hard to fix it. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. James, I'm glad you're with us. Hey, guys, as the world becomes increasingly uncomfortable, we're all looking for as much comfort as we can get. And the one thing I can always count on is how comfortable my Purple mattress is. No joke, folks. I love it. That's because Purple is comfort reinvented. Only Purple has the grid, the stretchy gel material that's amazingly supportive for your back and legs while cushioning your shoulders, neck, and hips. I don't know how it does it. It's fantastic, guys. It's very comfortable because the way it's designed, the grid doesn't trap air. Air circulates and flows through it, so you'll never overheat. The grid bounces back as you move and shift, unlike the memory foam, which remembers everything. It takes forever to get back into shape. That's why that memory foam stuff has the craters and the divots. Well, right now, you could try your Purple mattress risk-free with free shipping and returns. Financing is available as well. Purple really is comfort for an uncomfortable world. Right now, you'll get 10% off any order of $200 or more. I want you to go to purple.com/WatchChad10. Use promo code WatchChad10. That is purple.com/WatchChad10. And use promo code WatchChad10 for 10% off any order of $200 or more. Do it today. Terms apply. We'll be right back. I want to remind everybody, got some shows coming up. We were talking about it during the break. The Seabrook, Texas, Friday night. Then we're going to be in Oklahoma City on the 23rd. And got several others. Do-si-dos down at in the Woodlands, Texas. Going to be down there on the 29th. Get your tickets now, watchchad.com. James, why? Why'd you go down the border? How long were you down there, first of all?
I was down there for about 7 days.
7 days.
Yeah. So
why'd you go?
Why? Just because, I mean, you guys have seen this. We know that the stats are overwhelming when it comes to the illegal crossings. We know what's going on down there.
Yeah.
And we also know that the mainstream media is not focusing nearly as much on this current crisis, which is way worse. Plus, just sprinkle some COVID in there too. It's way worse than when they were all complaining about it in 2019. These numbers dwarf those numbers. They really do.
Yeah.
And after the Trump administration, introduced Remain in Mexico, they worked with CBP and all these groups to make sure, hey, what's the best? You're not going to stop illegal immigration, but what's the best way to actually reduce it? They implemented what they thought would work. It worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed, as well as I think a lot of people noticed, that they're just not paying as much attention, not even close, actually. It's inconvenient to pay attention to this because now their president is in office. They have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and they don't want to. There's literally an incentive for them not to make them look bad. And I know a lot of folks on the right or conservatives or even like center people, they had a problem with the environment that these crises create. So, yeah, I wanted to go down there and show people exactly what is going on down there, what it looks like, to what extent there's caravans coming through and all that stuff. And anyone that followed my work the last week was literally shocked because there's all this going on. You're not seeing it on the mainstream media. You're not seeing, 3 a.m., a group of 150 migrants just walking right in. And what's more shocking is they're not sneaking across. They're crossing and they're turning themselves into Border Patrol agents because they know they'll just be let into the country.
Yeah. Where can people find that content?
So you can subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/James Klug, but also I post a lot of my live coverage on Twitter, Real James Klug on Twitter. They can check that out. And then also if they're on Instagram, just James Klug, Klug.
Klug.
Yeah.
To me, it's kind of like the old Motel 6 commercials, Lisa. Tom Bodette, we'll leave a light on for you. The Trump presidency had turned that light off. Now Biden and Harris are in, and they just kind of turn the light back on. And it's almost like the zombie movies where you think you're safe, but then somebody drops a pot or a pan, and now they're all alerted to it, and they see the house with the light on, and so they start walking towards it. Not to equate people from south of the border as zombies, but you get my point. We've turned the light on, and we've made it where, like you said, they just come turn themselves in, and we're seeing busloads that are being transported further into the interior of the country. We've got 3,000 teenage, quote-unquote, migrant boys that are staying here in Dallas at the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center. Not a good situation. What happens at the end of 90 days? There's no plan. They haven't stated what they're going to do. They're not going to take them back to the border. Oh. So the further you bring them into the interior, the easier it is for them just to be released into the general population of America. So when you were down there, how close were you able to get to anything? Because we hear the story of journalists not being let close to the facilities, not being able to film anything, not being able to really tell the story that's down there. How close were you able to get to things?
Well, we can't go on like the federal land that all the illegal immigrants are crossing into, so I can't go that deep or else I'll be arrested.
Right.
But pretty much, I mean, I went right up to the unfinished border wall, which obviously by executive order, Joe Biden stopped construction of the border wall. So you can actually see, you can go down there and you can actually see, you can see this footage on my Instagram, Twitter, everything. You can see pallets, probably tens of thousands of pounds of steel just sitting around, and you can go down there. You're technically, we're usually big on asking for forgiveness more of, so I'll try to get the footage that I can get and just, get in, get out. But we were pretty much right at the edge of Texas and Mexico, right down in La Jolla, Texas. And, it'd be 2 a.m. and you'd see people pretty much, you wouldn't quite see the Rio Grande River. Yeah, but it's not far away, so yeah, you're pretty much right on the border for the most part. You're right up in there.
It's interesting. I'm planning another trip down and going to be spending quite a bit down in the Rio Grande Valley, but then also down near the border, closest we can get. And the thing that pisses me off is as you said, those raw materials are sitting there. Yeah, the border wall could be continuing to be constructed.
It's paid for.
It's paid for. I mean, the stuff is sitting there.
There's literally construction workers that are sitting there waiting to work.
No kidding.
Yeah, I swear.
That's insane.
Yeah. Every day.
That's insane. It's there. It needs to be done. I keep saying I don't know what our governor here in Texas is doing per se that's effective right now with this crisis. And I know in some ways you get your hands tied by federal law, but let me just say, the process of naturalization belongs to the federal government. The original Constitution allowed for states to protect their borders. Now, since the 1920s, progressive lawyers have gotten a hold of that, and they've made a lot of changes to that constitutional rule, and now people don't know how to interpret it properly. But I still maintain that it is up to the state to protect its borders, and we've got to be taking care of that kind of stuff in Texas.
Matter of fact, I think it's the state's responsibility first.
It should be.
Before the government ever steps in.
For sure.
It should be.
The state can't handle it and do it, and then you bring the government.
Well, as soon as the federal government gets involved with something, they're not going to get uninvolved. They're going to stay there. I mean, that's just like a regulation. We were talking about that last night. Once something gets regulated, they're not going to deregulate it. I mean, it takes a miracle for that to happen, because once the government gets involved, you're screwed. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing bureaucracy at play, and in fact, it's people's lives. Look, these folks that are at the border trying to get in here, these are still human beings. There is a reason why they're leaving El Salvador and Honduras and Guatemala. We talked about this extensively last week. Why do we spend billions of dollars to these countries down there, and then these people aren't benefiting from it? But the people that are most incentivized are leaving the country. Where's that going to leave El Salvador and Honduras? I mean, some of their best folks are leaving.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot of effing incentive to walk all the way up the country of Mexico to get to America. Yeah. Right? Those are some pretty incentivized people. They're pretty driven, pretty passionate. They got a vision.
And then the immigrants that come across that do it legal and the right way are only allowed to come if they can bring something into America that's going to, be positive for America. And you just took it out of their country. They could be staying at home and, building up their own country versus coming here to keep building ours up.
But we literally send billions of dollars to these governments every single year, and these people have no opportunity. And I've been to every single one of those countries. I've spent extensive time in those countries. And so I've seen it firsthand. And it's a bad situation all the way across the board.
I think one of the more shocking things for me with the illegal immigration is a lot of these folks are taking low-wage jobs. Well, what did the lockdowns, the forced lockdowns, what did those just destroy? Yeah. They primarily destroyed low-wage jobs, restaurants, all this stuff. So not only, this is one of the more, I mean, there's so many levels to why what the Biden administration is doing is frustrating. One, because all of this is preventable. It was what we had was working to the best of its abilities before, and maybe we can go over the numbers, but now we're having record at least 20-year highs on apprehensions at the southern border. A lot of these people are going to be getting let into the United States because they don't have enough room for these people. And what are they going to do? They're taking low-wage jobs from the people that lost them. Yeah. And it's like, there's always this, like, for some reason, it's this idea that, oh, they're all going to be farmers. That's not the truth.
No, they're going to, and when they do become legal, they're going to go take better jobs.
For sure.
So legalize them all, and then all of a sudden they're coming after everybody's jobs, not just low-income jobs.
I feel like the last time that we should tolerate this massive spike. By the way, you guys, last month there was 171,000 apprehensions at the southern border. I kept telling everyone that the estimates were right around 150, and that got blown out of the water. So 171,000. The very last time that we should all be tolerating this massive spike, or the worst time, I mean, is right now with how our economy just got destroyed in 2020 when it comes to low-wage earners. It's mind-blowing. It's like these people pretend that they want to help. They pretend they care about COVID. It's like, okay, well, you have detention facilities packed 500% right now.
More than that. I mean,
with
more than
COVID
that. Yeah,
in there. It's like you guys have been preaching this the whole time like you care, and you really don't.
No.
You really don't.
They don't care. And that's the thing. You got Joe Biden who comes out and says to Texas, it's a mistake for the Texas Rangers to allow 100% capacity at the ballpark for opening day. But you got 800% capacity in these detention centers down on the border. I mean, the hypocrisy is insane.
There's not a consistent argument in sight.
No, nowhere near it. I mean, you're telling me I got to stay. That's like saying I got to stay 6 foot away from the passenger in front of me while I'm in line waiting to get on a plane, but now I get to go ride with them sitting basically in my lap at 35,000 feet in a metal tube with breathing recycled air and everybody's crappy germs.
Sure.
With a little piece of paper covering my face. It's just stupid.
No.
And what are we doing? I mean, we're just sitting there and just gobbling it up. We just take it and there it is. But hey, at least we're not Hunter Biden who tried to smoke Parmesan cheese. I mean that.
Thank God.
You remember when Joe Biden said that Hunter was the smartest guy he knew? And he said in this interview over the weekend, he said he tried to smoke Parmesan cheese because he thought it was crack. There you go.
I think the media will literally jump to any level to protect this guy too. I mean, they were doing it right before the election. They had, it wasn't just the media, it was tech that was getting involved, banning people for talking about this guy because he's such a sore topic for media. I mean, imagine if this was a member of the Trump family.
Oh man. And he said in the interview, he said, yeah, there's a chance that this absolutely could be my laptop.
He had no idea, no clue.
Yeah.
Just like his father, no clue what's going on, totally aloof.
Pudding brain? I mean, you're talking about a dude who talks about being 13 days straight without sleep on a crack high, and which means he lied on his background check in order to buy a firearm, because that is a very specific question.
For sure.
Have you used drugs? Do you use drugs? And it lists off those drugs.
It's a pretty serious offense to be lying
that's a felony.
when you're purchasing a firearm.
Major deal, but they'll sweep that right under the rug.
Yeah.
Same deal. And I'm bringing that up just to talk about the border hypocrisy. This is, listen, if it's that level of hypocrisy in the president's own family, because you're right. What if it was Don Trump Jr.? If Don Trump Jr. was talking about
maybe the number one, it would be one of the number one stories every single week, and they just would. But here's the thing: they would also just keep it going for 4 years.
Yeah,
it would just never.
It would never end. And see, now he says he wouldn't repeat working for the Ukrainian firm. Like that's what Hunter says.
Bullshit.
A crackhead gonna do anything for $1.
I was gonna say that bank account says different.
Yeah.
I was thinking about going to work for him. Where do I apply?
Is that where you were last week? Were you taking interviews in the Ukraine?
You never know.
Well, Donald Trump Jr. too is like he has qualifications. He's a useful asset for businesses and deals when it comes to real estate or whatever it may be.
Right.
We kind of look at Joe Biden's son, and you're just like, what qualifications do you have for any of these positions?
You tried to smoke cheese for crying out loud.
Even with all that and everything, the Trumps are way more interesting on the news than the Bidens,
And
no matter what the Bidens
and
did.
they're smarter. They're all great business
But
people.
see,
They are, shockingly good.
That is actually a very valid point. The Trumps are more interesting. That's why they got to drum Hunter's drunk ass, high ass out there and make him look all humble and say, "Oh, I'm so contrite for doing all these things that I did." They've got to do all that to try to at least generate some interest in this family, right?
Just nobody cares about that family.
No.
Yeah,
Biden's
because if it bleeds, it leads, right? So I mean, this guy's got at least, but they're trying to make it look like, oh, he's the victim.
Yeah.
He's the victim.
And like we can sympathize for people that struggle with drugs and all that, but it's a lot more than that.
Well, I'm sure his dad was probably supplying him some money during some of those drug times.
Oh,
Yeah.
Steve! Oh,
I
Steve!
don't give a shit. He knows it.
They may. Oh, Steve!
Tell me he didn't ever hand him any money during those times.
Emails steve@watchchad.com.
Yeah, send the emails.
Hey, when it comes to car and home insurance, we deserve better. I know I do. I put my policy to the test. I turned to Gabby. They literally stand for Get a Better Insurance. Getting better insurance with Gabby means a better price for the same insurance coverage. You didn't even know something like this existed, probably. They're the ones, the one true comparison platform with real rates. They give you an apples-to-apples comparison of your current coverage with 40 of the top insurance providers like Progressive, Nationwide, Travelers, and all in one place. You take your current insurance information, and in just minutes, you're going to be able to see quotes for the exact same coverage you currently have. It's free to use. That's what I did. Gabby customers save $961 per year on coverage on average, and they'll never sell your info, so you don't get the spam or the robocalls. Put your policy to the test. Get a better insurance with Gabby. Totally free to check. There's no obligation. Go to Gabby.com/watchchad. That's GABI.com/watchchad. Go there today. We had this headline yesterday and didn't get into it, but you talk about fired disgruntled Walmart worker goes postal, drives car through the aisles in a North Carolina store.
That would be offensive to postal workers everywhere.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, you can't say that these days. You can't say going postal.
Just started driving down the aisles. Stay on topic, Steve.
But what was the reason?
He was just pissed off.
Oh, I was just saying maybe they kicked her out or him out.
I want to see
not
that
wearing a mask.
security cam footage.
Right, where is it?
Release the tapes.
Yeah, release the tapes.
Only at Walmart.
Yeah. Good Lord, have mercy. Anyway, let's talk about this. I got to get over here to this because I think this is going to take up the rest of our time. Victor Davis Hanson. I don't know if you read him very much or not. He can be pretty long-winded on his stuff, but one of the smartest guys, brightest minds, insightful dudes that's out there today. And he's got an article in the Daily Caller that he says the 10 radical new rules that are changing America. Pretty insightful. These are the things that are happening right now that we're buying into hook, line, and sinker. You alluded to one a little while ago, and I'll bring it up when we get to it.
Yeah. But
these are the things that are radically changing America. He says, number one, money is a construct. Now, you guys, when we talk about this $1.9 trillion stimulus deal, I've said over and over again, it's not there and it's not theirs. The money doesn't exist, right? The money, as he says, is created from thin air. So annual deficits and aggregate national debt, they don't matter much. You said you had presidents prior, to now that ran up these annual deficits, but at least there was some concessions that the money was real and had to be paid back, but not now. You don't have to worry about that now.
Nope, and I still want it.
Because as you're nearing $30 trillion in national debt and 110% of annual GDP, the elites either believe permanent zero interest rates make the cascading obligation irrelevant, or the larger the debt, the more likely to be forced to address needed income redistribution. So when we talk about things like reparations, see, that's why it's so easy to talk about these concepts, because we're talking about something that doesn't exist. It's not my money. It's not your money. The government's going to take care of all that.
It's crazy that we talk about that stuff when right now of all times is when we can't afford it at all. Not even close.
Right.
And it's like, it's not just reparations, it's free healthcare, it's free, I mean, whatever
free
it is.
College education.
Free college education. They just keep stacking things on top of things, and it's like, in what world do you think that we have the money to pay for this? We don't even have the money. It's like someone being like $100,000 in debt and being like, you know what? Let's go get a Ferrari collection. Let's buy every single one, and that's like what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't exist. They're lying to you about this.
Sure.
There is not $1.9 trillion, and there wasn't when Trump gave it either. It doesn't exist. It's not there. That's why the dollar is going to explode. It's going to burst. Yeah. The devaluation of the dollar is inevitable.
Not to mention, they didn't even need. They literally did that just to be like earn some woke points under the Biden administration. They didn't even need to. We had what did we have? Right around $1 trillion left over from previous relief packages. Yeah. I'm not sure if they've claimed where that's going yet, but they had that. That could have given each American, I think at the time, could have given each American right around $6,500, something like that. I mean, something around that. Yeah. But we had money already, and they're like, no, let's do another one, and we will give the American people this much out of the $1.9 trillion deal. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah. Or, as Steve brought up yesterday, what if we gave enough money for everyone in America to get a legal ID?
Yep.
So then they don't have to go out and pay for it.
It's $12.
And when it comes time to vote, they can't use poverty as an excuse or racially motivated. Everybody gets an ID.
These people are super, like, they're literally the most racist people. They think that minorities are too stupid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That they don't have an ID. They don't buy alcohol. They don't get a hotel room. They can't fly. They don't do any of this stuff. They must just think they're just sitting at home doing absolutely nothing. I don't know if you guys saw that video recently where they're going out. It's a street interview video where they're talking to people. Hey, asking Black Americans, do you have an ID? Yeah, why would I not?
Exactly. Why wouldn't I have an ID? But that's where we're living, right? Laws are not necessarily binding anymore. We talked about this with Hunter Biden, right? This is his second point. Laws aren't binding. So Joe Biden took an oath to take care of the laws that they'd be faithfully executed, but he's willfully rendered federal immigration laws null and void. Some rioters are prosecuted for violating federal laws, others not so much. Arrests, prosecutions, and trials are all fluid. Ideology governs when a law is still considered a law. Crime rates don't necessarily matter. If somebody's carjacked, assaulted, or shot, it can be understood to be as much as the victim's fault as the perpetrators. We saw that with, what was his name, Anwar there in D.C., the Uber Eats driver that got killed the other day when the 13 and 14-year-old had carjacked his car. And they call that an accident. Either the victim was too lax, uncaring, or insensitive, or he provoked his attacker. How useful the crime is to the larger agendas of the left determines whether a victim is really a victim and the victimizer really a victimizer. Yeah.
My cousin's boyfriend is a cop out here in Denton County, and he said he won't even go to these random calls that they get now, like, I lost my dog, or my neighbors are being loud, because it's not worth his life. He goes, these people are so crazy. I'm not going to go. If someone loses their cat, I'm sorry, but I can't come help you, because they're now so afraid of these crazy whack jobs pulling out a gun and shooting them.
Yeah.
So he won't even respond to those calls anymore. And he was saying yesterday, at some point, if you go out to a call, you get a call and you go out there and you see what the situation is, they're basically giving you an option to arrest the person. Like, if you see fit, if you think that they need to be arrested, you can arrest them. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. Like, it's optional.
Yeah.
Everything is so...
it's fluid. It's fluid.
Crazy.
Just making it up as we go.
Yeah.
Here's a point we've already brought up. Racialism is now acceptable. We're defined first by our ethnicity or religion, and only secondarily, if at all, by an American commonality. The explicit exclusion of whites from college dorms, safe spaces, and federal aid programs is now non-controversial. It's unspoken payback for perceived past sins or a type of, quote, good racism. Falsely being called a racist makes one more guilty than falsely calling someone else a racist. So that's true. We're seeing that happen. And I don't see any hope in sight of turning back from that type of rhetoric.
It's being regressive.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's being regressive, and for some reason they don't see it. Because I guess a lot of these people, when you talk to them out on the street, you know, obviously I do a lot of street interviews. When you talk to them out on the street, a lot of these people have the idea of, well, you can't be, for some reason someone redefined what racism means in their heads, and you can't be racist if you're a minority. I'm like thinking to myself, absolutely you can. You know, that's you thinking that a specific race is superior or inferior to another. That's the definition. That doesn't, you know,
that's what it is.
That's across the board.
It's called BLM.
That's across the board.
See, that's one of those lies that says
that's a racist organization.
that's one of those things that says, well, if you're a minority, you can't be a racist.
Yeah,
well, if I hate a person because of the color of their skin, or
Yeah.
I withhold something from somebody because of the color of their skin, or I demean somebody because of the color of their skin, persecute somebody or attack somebody, kill somebody because of the color of their skin, you're a racist.
100%.
I mean, I don't care what color you are. If you do that, and I've said over and over again, I don't care what your race is, assholes come in all colors, period. But if you do it because of the race or a skin color of a person, you're a racist.
Yeah.
Period. That's the dumb. It's one of the biggest lies. Is just say, well, black people can't be racist.
It is-
Bullshit.
Ow.
They're
Okay.
racist against blacker people than them,
Or lighter people than
or
them.
lighter people. Exactly.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
And y'all know it's the truth. Y'all know it's the truth.
It
James.
is.
Try being an albino black person. See what you get. See what you get.
No, yeah, we're kind of just living in like an upside down world
That's
right now.
stupid, dude. I'm
where-
saying it all
Yeah,
the time.
it
where
really
it's
is.
like for some reason
Asians are racist against other Asians. It's
And they don't even hide it.
no, they don't hide it at all. They can say it. And
You go to Southeast Asia and watch.
Yep.
And see what happens. I've been there. I've seen it.
Been there,
It
done
feels
that.
like we are getting more and more racist every year, but it's not like what most people think. It's not like, oh, white supremacy is becoming a bigger problem. It's more of like, no, they're tolerating certain type of racism more and more every single year. I mean, you look at like Oakland, California, they had that pilot kind of program where they're giving $500 a month. I believe it could have been a week, but maybe it was a month, and they're excluding white families, and
But
so
that's
they're
not
doing.
racist, James.
Yeah. Y'all hang on a second. We're going to continue that second. Hang on a second. Hey, wearing a face cover, physical distancing, hand washing. Those are ways that you can protect yourself from COVID-19. But, folks, you got to eat better. Eating a healthy diet is essential to building a strong immune system so that your body's less susceptible to infection, according to many registered dietitians. So, agriculture. I'm sorry. That's a bad deal. Listen, I'll mess it up in a heartbeat, Candace. You gotta eat the agriculture. The stuff that's growing in the field, you got to eat it. And when you want to do that, you turn to Field of Greens. It's packed with 18 clinically researched essential fruits and vegetables, plus green tea, ginger, turmeric, and beets. It's like having a bunch of fresh fruits and vegetables in a jar, like agriculture. Hey, additionally, Field of Greens can support heart health, your immune system, metabolism, blood pressure, digestion, plus it's pre and probiotic. It's good for everybody, including the young ones in your home. Just put a scoop in a glass of water, stir it up, drink it, and you're done. Go to brickhousechad.com. 15% off of your first order with promo code CHAD. I spell it Chad at checkout. It's the easiest and fastest way to start living a healthier life. Available in multiple flavors. brickhousechad.com. brickhousechad.com. Use promo code Chad. Right back. All right, I want to run through these real quick before we run out of time in the show because they're important. Number 4, the immigrant is mostly preferable to the citizen. That is, the newcomer, unlike the host, is not stained by the sins of America's founding and history. Most citizens currently must follow quarantine rules and social distancing, stay out of school, and obey all the laws. But those entering the United States illegally, they don't have to follow all that stuff. The COVID rules for them are just superfluous. So they can send them to San Diego and put them right in the school, and the teacher gets to choose whether they're going to teach the illegal kids or they're going to teach the normal students.
Go ahead.
It's like when you come to my house, you don't have to take your shoes off. My wife makes me take my shoes off when I'm at home.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm the visitor. I get preferential treatment.
It's America Last policy.
You should see what else your wife lets me do. Dude, she's very kind to visitors. Very kind. But that's what's going on in America right now. That's what's going on in America.
Yeah.
We're giving preferential treatment to the folks coming in. But I'm sorry, y'all need to go back and study your history about things that happened in Central America historically. They weren't so kind to each other either there. But see, Americans are the sinners because we had slaves, right? So we're just horrible.
Would you look back at like what Aztecs used to do?
Aztecs and exactly.
That was I mean, imagine being like a son growing up in a family that's like having to be sacrificed.
Oh, I'm sure
during the
that'll
Aztecs.
come
You're
back
like,
too.
Dad, come on, this isn't cool.
No, not cool, pops.
Not cool, pops.
I would figure the runaway rate would be really high.
Very high. If Daddy don't get you, the jungle will. Hey, number 5, most Americans should be treated like we would treat little children. Cannot be asked to provide an ID to vote, but you might have to do. You got to protect these Neanderthals from themselves, and so you got to have a vaccine passport and all of these things. So
We don't want anybody's feelings hurt.
Well,
yeah,
we got to treat everybody like children. That's my biggest issue with our governor here in this state. He treated Texans like children. Number 6, hypocrisy is passé. Virtue signaling is alive. Climate change activists fly on private jets. Social justice warriors live in gated communities. Elitists pose as victims of sexism, racism, and homophobia. The hypocrisy, and we've listed a number of the hypocritical things with Hunter Biden and the Biden family. Doesn't matter. You can be a hypocrite. So doesn't matter.
Every single one of their arguments, it seems to like flop on top of each other, right? I mean, you can talk about the wall. You brought up the fence, like gated communities and stuff like that. It's like, why do you live in a gated community?
And these days, to even call somebody a hypocrite, it's nothing.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Oh, well.
Yeah. We're all desensitized. Seriously. It's like, whatever.
But I sound good when I say sweet things about these poor refugees down at the border. Let's see. Ignoring or perpetuating homelessness is preferable to ending it. It's more humane to let thousands of homeless people live, eat, and defecate and use drugs on public streets and sidewalks than it is to greenlight affordable housing, mandate hospitalization for the mentally ill, and create sufficient public shelter areas. That's damn true. Dadgum true. We don't want to do anything about it. We want to just leave these people be.
Oh, believe me, we see it in California.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Los Angeles is shocking.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Right in the shadows.
Oh, yeah.
You go to Hollywood, you go to Beverly Hills, man, right in the shadows of these multi-million-dollar homes.
Well, I go and film in Venice Beach a lot. It's a good spot to film on the street and stuff like that. And it's literally like miles of tents along the beach.
Yeah,
We're
and how's
sitting
the
right in front
mental
of houses
health-
that are probably millions of dollars.
Right, yeah.
The mental health and the drug use is insane.
But don't worry, guys. We got to fix our roads. We have to fix our roads and our bridges with all the money that we don't have. Those come first. But let all the homeless
and
people
we got to
just
make
live
sure
everywhere.
that gender studies in Pakistan are taken care of in this relief package.
Yeah, and to go back to the wall super, super quick, but we're 171,000 apprehensions at the southern border last month, allowing probably most of the people into the country. Taking care of these people first instead of our own citizens. These people are getting Social Security. These people are getting health care, especially in California. These illegal immigrants are getting health care. They're getting K through 12 education. They're getting English second language classes, which are very expensive. They're getting all of this stuff. And here we have homeless veterans. Here we have homeless Americans. Here we have job losses that have skyrocketed due to COVID. And we take care of people that aren't even American citizens first. It's like we prioritize them.
We take our homeless vets, we fly them down to Mexico, let them come to the border. When they get here, they turn themselves in, and they get to sleep in a hotel room where they spend $70,000 per individual that's coming in.
They'll be treated the way that they're probably supposed to be treated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's take care of that. McCarthyism is good, so you destroy lives and careers for incorrect thoughts in cancel culture, Twitter reign of terror. Say one word wrong, act or look away. Look away from you're one act or look away from losing your livelihood. Number 9, ignorance is preferable to knowledge. Statue toppling, name changing, 1619 projects. None of those required any evidence of historical knowledge. Heroes of the past are simple constructs, and the brand, not what created it, is all that matters. That's true. And then the 10th one is wokeness is the new religion. Got to read my new book, Am I Crazy? An Unapologetic Patriot Takes on Today's Woke World.
Check it out.
Yep, by all means. You can pre-order it right now. please do, in the place where all books are offered. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Billion. Am I crazy? But that's true. That's what the whole thing is. The wokeness is the new religion, growing faster and larger than Christianity. Its priesthood outnumbers the clergy and exercises far more power. Silicon Valley is the new Vatican. Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, and Twitter are the new Gospels. That's what we see happening, man.
So true.
It's so dang true.
I think the part about wokeism is like they grab onto these talking points that are like maybe one sentence long. And that's what spreads, right? That's what spreads. They get a catchy phrase, whatever. You can name pretty much any phrase that they use. And it's a lot easier to use that phrase for young adults or whatever it is. And instead of actually explaining your stance or anything like that, AOC says, oh, well, no person is illegal or anything like that. And it's like, oh, it sounds good. Sounds really great. But once you start to actually have a conversation, that's where you get lost. And that's a good example of that is when she was talking to, you guys remember Tom Homan?
Oh, yeah.
Former acting, director of ICE. When he spoke with AOC, that was a perfect example. She was throwing all these talking points that all these millennials and people my age that are stupid, that they grab onto because the talking points are so fun. And they spread like wildfire because they're easy to consume and easy to regurgitate. And then as soon as you get challenged, like he did to her, what was that, like 2018, 2019? Probably 2019.
Yeah.
He just destroyed her. Because once you get out of talking the talking points and you actually have to talk specifics, that's where they lose.
Yeah. Yeah, and I won't tell you what Tom Homan told me.
I love that guy. I hung out with him. He was down at the border.
Encounter. Yeah. Super good dude.
I can't imagine.
He's
a plain-spoken cat, I'll tell you that.
Big time.
Solid.
If what you imagine him being like, he's like.
He really
and he's actually just really great. He's really an awesome guy. I was down there. He was down there at the border when I was there with Mark Morgan, the former acting commissioner of CBP. Top dogs that know the border. Talking to them.
People have got to check out your content there. Y'all hang tight. We'll be right back. This is good stuff. Check out that article by Victor Davis Hanson. It's Daily Caller. Read it for yourself. 10 radical new rules that are changing America. He ain't wrong, guys. Hanson is quite the prophetic voice for culture in America today. Lisa, I hope your house gets repaired quickly.
Thanks. Maybe the government can throw me some money, take care of it for me.
Already found Steve.
Yeah.
Keep slinging that merch, baby.
That's right.
Yeah. Make sure you guys are following James Klug on all social media. Subscribe to his YouTube. You don't want to miss out. And if you'll go back and you'll watch some of the content, you'll be like, oh, yeah, I know that guy. I know that. I saw that. I remember seeing that video. I remember seeing what that was. So much of what you guys are doing, Andy Noah is doing, our own Elijah Schaefer, so many, you see this footage that's on the news, and people are like, wow, they don't realize where that comes from, and it comes from guys like yourself. So appreciate what you're doing. Stay safe.
Will do.
Keep kicking that ass.
Appreciate you, Chad.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, brother. We'll go drink some more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that ranch water.
Yeah.
He'd been drinking tequila and soda. Didn't even know what. I turned him on to the tequila and Topo Chico.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anything with Topo Chico.
With lime in it.
Yeah.
We had one or 8 of those last night.
I think we had a few last night.
Anywhere in that range.
There you go. You're fine. It's good.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Hydration.
My phone never went off.
It did, man. Jeez.
Nothing.
You were in bed.
Funny.
I was probably in bed.
You were already in bed.
You were in bed. Go to watchchad.com. That's where all the fun stuff is. And make sure you're subscribed at BlazeTV.com/Chad. Use promo code CPS for a good discount. And sign up for an annual subscription. And make sure you come out and see us at a live show, Seabrook, Friday night. And we're going to be in Oklahoma City on the 23rd. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night for Hump Day. We love y'all. God bless you. Talk to you next time. Bye.